and I initially applied to Free Fringe. Even though I had a few accolades, I'm still an unknown comedian, and I applied for the Free Fringe, and I didn't initially get an offer of a venue, and I was like, oh fuck, what am I going to do? And I was really lucky, and I won the Keep It Fringe Fund, which is the Phoebe Waller-Bridge fund to help people get to the Fringe, and it's £2,500. And I was like, wow, with that, I can approach the bigger venues, the paid venues. So I reached out to Gilded Balloon, and yeah, they offered me a little 50-seater in their Pater House, their big pink building. So I was really bloody lucky. I lucked out there.
Yeah, but again, it's the synchronicity. You know, when we're saying like the universe, just things aligning. Like that's so cool.
Special guest episode.
Have we got a treat for you? This is a high energy episode with Kayleigh Jones. She is a stand-up musical comedian, and we discuss her journey from being an actor into the comedy world and her new Edinburgh Fringe Festival show, which she is doing right now as we speak in August. Check her out. Stick around to the end as well, as we have a couple of songs from her. We know you'll enjoy this. Welcome back, and today, as you've heard in the intro, we have with us Kayleigh Jones, comedian, and Drew is going to give us a proper intro because we're very lucky to have her, because very soon she's off doing something very special at the Edinburgh Comedy Festival. So over to Drew.
Yes, we have the wonderful Kayleigh, as Kevin has just said, and also was mentioned in said introduction.
Triple intro, aren't you lucky?
Trilogy. She is doing a wonderful tour of I Fed My Dad to a Pelican. And I had the absolute pleasure of seeing it in Brighton. And Kayleigh is just phenomenal. Like, I seriously can't big up this show enough. And I think it's incredible that it is going on tour. And thank God, so more and more people can absolutely just enjoy this masterpiece of a show. I want to take it back to the beginning, though, how I met Kayleigh. I don't know how well Kayleigh remembers this, but I swear it was a Ministry of Fun gig, and we were working at Harrods for Christmas, and I think you were on stilts. No?
No, I've never stilted.
I swear to God, that's an awful introduction.
Drew, you're just really short.
We need to recast.
That first bit I'm going to clip and just add to all my videos, because that was such a nice...
If anyone out there ever met Drew whilst on stilts, give us an email. We'll get you on, and we've already got an intro prepared for you.
Especially if your name's Kayleigh.
I'm going to learn stilts just so I can use that clip as well.
Well, I just remember though.
9 foot tall, Drew. You're just short.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is. I just remember you being so funny when we were in that little kind of break room. We had these random little breaks throughout because I was looking after the reindeers.
Do
you remember that?
This wasn't going through your meth phase when you were just like...
Yeah, I was weaning myself off the meth, but I mean, I don't know.
People like, I was on stilts and I was looking after reindeer.
No, I know, that sounds awful.
It's a dream, Drew.
Doesn't sound great. Kayleigh, have you ever been to Harrods?
I have.
We were in the Ministry of Fun together. You could admit that.
Ministry of Fun elfing Harrods, and I was a forest elf.
Yes.
They're little people.
Yeah. In white tutus and ears. But
sounds brilliant.
I think a few years before I did something else at Harrods. But we've done a few random things together, and
yeah. Were you tall? Were you a tall elf though? I swear. What is it with the? No,
I've never been a tall elf, Drew.
You've never been a tall elf.
So, Kayleigh, do you do acting as well? What got you into doing the Harrods thing and all these sort of strange things that Drew does on the side?
Yeah. So I started out wanting to be an actor. I trained. I didn't go to drama school, but I went to Stratford College and did like musical theatre. and then moved to London with the dream of being in a West End musical, and that never happened. But you pick up lots of like promo and random events work along the way, and that's where I've met Drew.
Yeah. So
Because
Ministry of
I
Fun.
just
See, I wasn't
on
completely on
pedestal.
meth or crack. It
It
was
was
true, right?
Ministry of
Ministry
Fun,
of Fun.
yeah.
There
Just
you
not
go.
on stilts.
Just not on stilts. Just
No.
stilts in my mind.
Yeah.
I put you on a pedestal. I think
You
that's what it was.
Wow. Yes, that's it.
How? I'm going to skip that next question because it's like, how does one get on stilts? So that's not going to
Yeah,
make
I don't know.
any.
He's got
Any-
about 7 questions about stilts. So
No, I'll skip all
Got
the
the
stilt
wrong guy.
questions. I was going to say, what made you want to get into comedy?
Well, that kind of, it just evolved it. So I found when I was at college doing like if I was ever in a play, even if I was cast in like a serious role, I would always try and find a way that I could get the audience to laugh. That I got a real kick out of making people laugh. That was, that feeling for me was like, oh, I enjoy this. But it never clicked at an early stage that doing comedy would be or could be a thing. And it wasn't until 2017 that I got into trying stand-up and taking it more seriously. I did a stand-up comedy course with Logan Murray, and each week you kind of build your 5-minute set, and that was my first kind of tiptoe into it. I think I got into it initially because I feel like with acting you're always waiting for someone to give you a role, or you're waiting for that yes, or I don't know, in my head that I never had the kind of sense, I guess, to write and put my own thing on as an actor. But with comedy, I found I could write something and then just go to a comedy club and try it out. It felt a bit more like I was getting fed up of not performing, I guess, and just kind of leant towards comedy and thought I'm just going to give it a go.
that's
It's
great.
like you
Taking your destiny in your own hands. Yeah,
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Yeah.
It's kind of, it's a real accessible way to kind of get your writing out there. And like, my approach to comedy is quite theatrical, I think. It's very much rooted in storytelling. So I'm not, I use the term stand-up comedian loosely. I feel like I'm more a comedy performer and writer, because my comedy is very much storytelling. That's important to me. So that's kind of one person show style stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
Any of that make sense?
Well, yeah. It's almost Nolan-esque actually, because you have time jumps, which I love in that particular show. It starts out of sequence, so it's a bit like a Nolan film, but in stand-up comedy world.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
we've all listened and seen some of your videos as well. So we've all listened to your jokes and stuff. And like you say, I fully agree. You're not coming out of like bam, bam, bam jokes. It's like you take people on a little bit of a journey, and there's like funny moments along the way, not just a punchline. And I think that's really relatable, even when it does some abstract stuff occasionally.
Yeah, I would never be like a gag comedian. I don't think you'd get me headlining at the Comedy Store. Or I have done the Comedy Store, which was amazing, but I think headlining, you need to get that gag rate of how many jokes per minute. That doesn't come naturally to me. I'm very much I'd much rather do a show where there's a story, and but I guess that comes from the acting side of things.
Was the music always involved? Like, did you start just doing little stories and then brought the guitar in later, or was that always the concept?
No, so I just had a ukulele in my flat because my husband went to work away in New York for a couple of months, and I thought I'm going to buy a ukulele to. I don't have enough friends, so I brought a ukulele. And I just taught myself kind of the basics. And anyway, it was kind of sat in a cupboard for ages. And I had 2 weeks solid of getting these casting calls from my agent that were so kind of derogatory towards women. Like, they were just ridiculous, but also hilarious. And I just thought, I'm going to put this into a song because I thought it was really funny. So I had the idea, and I wrote this song called The Female Casting Call, and I shared it online. And it was kind of before it was way before the days of like TikTok and stuff like that. And it did really well on Facebook, and I got a few gigs out of that. But I never put the stand-up and the music together at that point. I kind of thought, oh, that was quite good, and left it alone. And then we went into lockdown, and I got inspired then by a few things. I wrote a song called what was it? Up Shit's Creek, which is about like not having any toilet paper and stuff like that, and kicking off in Tesco's over a bag of rice. Like, it was just a stupid song that I put out. Again, it did quite well. And then a few, the petrol, not having any petrol, all these things were happening, and I did these songs and they did quite well. And then there was the Musical Comedy Awards came up, and I thought, I'm just going to enter it. And that was kind of where it clicked for me, that I could mix stand-up and the music together. I was a very different person at the end of that competition to the person I was at the beginning. I was shitting myself. And I just was kind of like, oh, here's a funny song and here's another funny song. And I don't know how I got through that first round. I actually didn't. I was a wild card, so I didn't get through initially. And then I was a wild card, and they put me through, just kind of like, let's see how she does. And I watched all the other acts, and I was like, okay, you see what I'm doing wrong here. And I just formulated this set, and then I just kind of grew over each round, and then made it to the final. And then I was like, oh, this is my thing. I can do stories, a bit of stand-up and songs, and that's kind of where it all clicked.
That's amazing. That must be terrifying.
Yeah, it's, just before you step on stage, because I get nervous when I've done theatre and I've done the odd musical and things like that, and get nervous, but it's a different kind of nerves when it's comedy. I think because it's quite vulnerable, because it's your material, and if you need that instant reaction. So if people aren't laughing, you're not doing your job very well. Whereas if you're performing, it's, you keep going and you kind of hear the reaction at the end. But when you're laughing, if you're going 2 minutes and you've not had a laugh, you're like, oh God, this is going terribly.
I was going to say, sorry, because you're right, because it's your material as well. Because if you are doing a play or a musical,
you can't blame anyone else.
Yeah, it's the director, it's the person that wrote the music, but that's all on you. So
yes,
the onus is with you for that.
It's a lot of responsibility.
When I said that thing at the end of your gig, and I said, I really hope that Tom Hanks sees your show somehow through the universe and turns it into a film. The reason I said that to you was, you know the film My Big Fat Greek Wedding?
Yes.
Do you know the story behind that as well?
No.
That was a one-woman stand-up kind of show. Oh. Tom Hanks's wife saw it.
Like, I have heard this, yeah.
Yeah, she thought it was amazing. She said, Tom, you have to go and see this. And then he saw it and was like, we need to make this into a film. And they chatted to, I can't remember the actress that played the main part and wrote the whole thing and even helped cast it. But she said, I'll tell you what, we can make that film if you let me be the lead and and I can cast a few of the other people. And that's why, the reason I say that is because your stand-up show reminded me of that, because that you can really get a sense of all the characters that you describe, and you go on. It's such your show is incredible. Like it's so clever how you play all the different people in a sense, or it's you're reacting to each member of said family, and you just paint such a great kind of canvas of all of the different family members, and it's brave as well to do it based on family situations. Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt the show. Just a reminder to say we love and appreciate you all for listening to the podcast, whether it's on Spotify, Apple, or Amazon. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, follow, as this really helps us continue to progress and improve the content and keeps us making these fun episodes for you guys. Oh, we're also on these things called Instagram and TikTok. You can follow us there too, as we share short, funny reels on the reg that you can share with friends if you like. Now, back to the mayhem.
How much truth is in your material then?
It's all true. And if anything, really? I've had to drop bits of it because it's too ridiculous.
No one will believe this.
Wouldn't believe it.
So wait, is the pelican legit?
Yeah. It didn't. I mean,
What?
it didn't rap.
Yeah, no, that is amazing.
Pelican that raps.
Spoilers, that is genius,
Yeah.
though. That is absolute genius. It sounds like
Um,
you're on crack now. If you're like, yeah, I just beat him to a pelican. You're like, what?
yeah. I know people. I think people come to the show thinking either the title's a metaphor, or but every time I do the show, people come up and go, "Yeah, but how much of it is real?" And I'm like, "It's true."
Wow.
Have you ever watched or had any inspiration from probably one of my favourite comedians that does not what you do because they don't sing, but story wise, Rod Gilbert?
Yes.
I think he's
Yeah.
one of the greatest storytelling comedians of all time. Like you go and see him live, and you don't like Jimmy Carr is like bang bang bang,
Yeah.
but Rod
Like
Gilbert
firing them out.
he'll go on about what was it? I won't go into his set, but he goes on about buying a duvet and they
Oh, the
ask him what
match.
tog
Yeah.
rating, and he doesn't know what a tog is, let alone like two. And he goes on this like 10-minute rant, or why has the washing machine got a pre-wash? Is that like a pre-match talk? Like why? And he goes on this 10-minute rant about a washing machine setting, and you just can't stop laughing. Like I've never been to a comedy show where I've been that close to having to walk out through fear of actual like injury. Like I was
Yeah.
laughing so much it hurt. Like it's so funny, and all at the end of it, so he goes through all these stories, and right at the end, he ties them all together to have this
Yes.
one point at
All
the
that.
end. But your title reminded me of that because one of his was called "The Cat That Looked Like Nicholas Lyndhurst," and it was the award-winning mince pie. That one was about a
Yeah.
rant because he went to Knutsford Services, and M&S sold a mince pie. It said it was award-winning,
Yes.
and he was kicking off because they didn't know what award.
Yeah.
And the other one was the man with the flaming Battenberg tattoo or something,
Yeah. Which is him.
where he ends up with a baked potato in New York. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah. Weirdly enough, the first time he did stand up was with the same course I did with Logan Murray a few
No
years
ways.
before me, and Logan said he was so nervous and had so much like self-doubt about his act. And I think at first he was trying to do like jokes, like gag, but then it was like just be you, and he just like just told these mad stories, which I think is getting more popular in comedy. The mixing the two.
yeah.
I
Again, it
think
captures your interest, I think.
when you can make it relatable like that, that's why, like, I mean, the audience were in fits of laughter at your show. I mean, even your opening part with when you printed out the thing with Twitter. I mean, maybe you can share it with the guys, but did that legitimately happen again, or is this?
Yeah, I can send you the link. So I did an interview with Metro, the newspaper, about my show, and they shared the article on Facebook. So it says, "I fed my dad to a pelican." It's got a picture of me smiling, pointing to some pelicans. And someone who I'm assuming didn't read the article just commented underneath 3 words: "Sick, cruel person." And I was like, that's brilliant. I've got to put that in my show.
You should have put 3 words back. He deserved it.
Yeah.
Oh my
Read
god!
it properly.
Yeah, that was amazing. That was amazing. So, I was gonna say, so what? How did you go about getting the show together, and then how did it become a tour? That's obviously kind of 2 questions. So take your time, but it's just a fascinating kind of insight how to craft a show, and then how does it kind of start to kind of pick up momentum and.
I guess I initially threw everything down. I knew I wanted to do this story because it was kind of this big thing that happened in my life, and I loved writing, and there was something I was blocked. I couldn't write anything until I got this out of my head. So I was like, I'm just going to start putting it down, and I just wrote down the key bits that I thought were like the key parts of the story of what happened. And I just threw it all down, and it was like too much. And I really followed the 3-act structure of like playwriting or film writing, like, you know, the going on a journey, you know, the mess in the middle, and then at the end, the kind of resolution. And there's this thing in comedy hours where they say like the 45-minute mark is kind of where you bring the audience in. Maybe you have something that's a bit more serious at that moment. It kind of gives the audience a bit of a break. You might talk about something that's a bit more, you know, you're not getting laughs at that moment. And then you bring it back up at the end. So I kept all these kind of things in my head, and just I wrote it down kind of in a linear way, and then included stuff that I was doing on the circuit in gigs that were getting a laugh, and seeing how I could include them so that, you know, had a higher joke hit. And then, yeah, I guess when I first wrote it all down, it was like an hour and a half probably. And then it was just really kill your babies, you know, just go through, and it's like, actually, I find this funny. This is interesting to me, but to the audience, they don't need to know it. And yeah, you just have to strip away a lot of it so that you've got something that just focuses on the story, so you don't lose the audience. I tried to put in too much. Initially, I got diagnosed with borderline personality disorder, and I tried to talk about that at the same time as this. And I was trying to interweave and how each thing kind of affected the other. And it just got too messy. And I think an audience would be like, what the fuck is going, what story are we listening to here? So I was like, I've got to get rid of that. Just focus on this. And I can drip elements of it through, but the story had to be solid. So I kind of wrote it rather than like stand-up fashion, in more as a one-person play, I guess.
Yeah.
That's good work, because you've got that background in act. Oh, what happened?
Oh no. No.
Hello,
No.
you're back.
I feel like you were about to say something really good then, Kev. I lost
No.
you.
Well, I hope it didn't cut anything off that you were saying, because that was really interesting. But yeah, just to say, like, I think it's really good that you've got that background, that you've got that format that you can work with, that you're probably a step up ahead of most people just getting into it. But you mentioned, like, you know, don't answer if it's not something you're comfortable with. But you mentioned about personality disorder. Is that something that's impeded you or helped you get this material?
I mean, I've been diagnosed with so many things. It's actually turned out that it's not that. but
okay.
I guess it affects. Yeah, it's good and bad, I guess.
Because it's something that makes you doubt yourself as well, doesn't it?
I have a lot of.
It makes you work harder in a way.
Yeah, so that was something. I did a master's in comedy writing. I don't know how I got in the course. Very much working class background, and didn't get into. Couldn't afford to go to drama school or anything like that. And I just applied for this master's in comedy writing, sent in some stuff, and I got in, even though I didn't have like a degree. They kind of like took a risk on me. But that course really taught me kind of storytelling. I learned so much, and I was like, oh, this is why I'm not really getting anywhere with my writing, because I can see the points I'm not hitting. So that course really helped kind of shape how I write, but I still very much have a lot of self-doubt every time I do it, and just in general in life.
But it's one of those things you got to keep doing, though, isn't it? Like, you can never perfect it. You keep doing it till you're more comfortable. And I didn't know you could do a master's in comedy.
Yeah, neither did I. It was in comedy writing, so it's like writing scripts, like sitcoms and comedy dramas. So it's more the script writing than like writing stand-up or anything like that. Yeah,
that's
so it is more for. Sorry, so it is more for kind of like TV, so to speak, structurally.
Yes, yeah.
I liked how you did a hook as well, as they call it, I think, in the business at the very beginning, and it's clever because the pennies drop throughout the show. That's what I love. So you've got that narrative thing going on. It even reminds you a little bit of kind of True Detective in the sense that with the jumping of different, it's so many different time periods, because your character the you is playing different ages of you, and then you're like, and then you go back to real time, this is me now, and then it's like you go back into where we're at, like present day sort of thing, and you just, it's clever though, because having those sub stories going on kind of simultaneously keeps the audience intrigued with how it's all going to kind of come together. And it's incredibly well crafted. That's one of the things I said to you at the end. I said, like, this is such an amazing kind of crafted story that gives it such a kind of unique experience from an audience point of view, rather than just like someone who's just funny kind of just cracking little jokes left, right, and center, or kind of like Lee Evans sketches and things like that. It really had such kind of nuance to it. It was, it takes you on a journey, man. It's really, really, really good.
Well, Drew did some naughty things and took a couple of videos while you were doing your set and sent it to him.
Sorry.
I wonder what you're going to say then, Kev.
I got the picture. I'm like, you shouldn't be doing this. But it was just, everyone was laughing. No one noticed he had a camera.
Well, at least he's not really flashing.
I mean, it wasn't like I was selling it on the black market cheap.
Right.
Yeah. Here's half the show, guys. Here's
the ending.
Yeah. Spoiler alert. No, it was just I know how good you are, and I really enjoy your songs way before you started doing your stand-up comedy. A lot of the stuff you, like you said, you were sharing through your kind of Instagram or Facebook account, I always thought was really entertaining. And I was like, I couldn't be more excited when you said, I've got a show, I'm going on tour. I'm like, yes, finally. Like,
thank you, Drew. Biggest fan. To get your teeth.
I am a crazy fan.
Whereabouts are you based, Kayleigh, anyway? Are you in Brighton area, or was it you travelled for the gig?
South Oxfordshire, so like just off the M40 near High Wycombe.
Not far from where we all used to live. Well,
really?
James lives at Hampshire and Hampshire.
No way.
That's where we all met.
Pumpkins.
Where are you all now?
Well, Drew's in Brighton and I'm in Chester.
Yeah, of course.
I'm still in. I just googled your
I'm still
I did go on YouTube, and there is quite a lot of your set on it by user D Horner acting supreme.
That's
and
not
one of
true.
them's just titled "Girl I Met on Stilts?" question mark. 3 thumbs down, Drew.
Sorry.
But the video had so much atmosphere; you could tell everyone was having a good time as well. Did you send the video to Kayleigh to see?
Did I send you the footage?
You put it on your story.
Yeah, I did. I shared.
Spoiler alert: she was there.
Yeah.
No, but when you
show that, I really like.
When you're doing it, you don't always appreciate what you're getting back. You're just nervous about your material.
I've
you
done
might not
a
hear
few
what.
where I'm like, oh, this has not gone down well, and then afterwards, like, had a nice response. Or my husband's been like, what are you talking about? But sometimes it can feel. The audience says each time I do it. I did one last week in Watlington. It was a very middle class, older audience, and they were very quiet. All the way, like they would kind of chuckle and stuff, and they were listening, and and at the end I was like, oh fuck, I've really fucked up this time. But then this guy stood up, he's like, oh bravo, and at the end they came up and they really enjoyed it, but they just not big, they enjoyed it in a different way. They were more listening, and treated it more, I think, as a theatrical performance rather than stand up, which is all, like you mentioned Lee Evans. I think that's so like that style of comedy is also incredible. Like it's like, that is, I've seen some amazing comedians, like, which is the joy of this job. Like when you're on a bill with other comedians, you get to watch them, and some are so incredible and their jokes are so clever, and I really admire that. To be able to jump from one idea to the other, whereas I'm very much, I have to link everything. With these comedians, I can just go bam, bam, and I think that's incredible. That's such a skill.
But I remember saying to you though, your wordplay was really, really good in your pieces. Like the way that you kind of have, like that thing I said should be on a T-shirt. If you want to say that gag, if you want, I will wear it as a T-shirt. I swear to God.
Get you a T-shirt, Drew.
I swear to God. Yeah. You can tell the guys that bit I was talking about if you want.
So
I mean,
we'll be absolute silence now.
That
wasn't funny.
So it's a bit when I'm talking about like my like a long-term relationship and like how we have to keep it exciting, and I'm like, we do have to keep it exciting. Although my husband made me a risotto recently that was so bland, I thought I had COVID. But it works in that bit of the show, and also is a true story.
And also, risotto is the most boring dinner ever to eat.
Yeah, how can you make it blander? He did.
I mean, it is tasty. I like a risotto, but yeah, it's not an exciting meal, is it?
I just thought that bit in particular was genius. I mean, there's so many moments of magic interwoven through your.
Let's go.
So I got a couple more questions before maybe you can share a few songs with us. from said show that we're
Sorry,
not trying
I'm
to.
crying still. It just, something just tickles you.
That's what I was saying, man. I said that. It's the idea because everyone knows when you got COVID, you can't taste anything. You're like, shit, am I ill? You're like, no, it's just really bad.
It's just really bad.
It was the deadpan delivery that got me, I think. Sorry, Drew.
Well,
That's a good
I was going to say,
question.
what is the craziest venue that you've performed in? Like, as in how bizarre, like the back of a chicken barn or whatever, like however crazy it goes.
I did a gig
Not
above
the front of a chicken barn, specifically the back of a chicken barn. Yeah?
with the ovens. I did
Yeah.
above an Indian restaurant, and we were in this room, and it was very well lit, which is quite off-putting when you see everybody. It was very well lit. People were being brought food during it, and on the side was a big sculpture of the Last Supper with Jesus and the disciples, and I was doing
Except
bits
you had
of
a
my
lambooner.
yeah, and like as I'm doing my show, like some slightly riskier bits. I was like, oh, sorry, like it was just, like doing it next to this portrait of Jesus. That was
Oh, that's brilliant. Including Jesus in your
yeah,
set. That's very respectful. Yeah.
Oh wow.
asking for forgiveness as I'm doing it.
Oh my god, that's brilliant.
Yeah, so Drew was going to ask, but he's a bit slow. What have you had any hecklers? And what have they said? And
Yeah,
how'd
that-
you deal with it?
I've
Did you
actually
appreciate
been,
it and run into the material, or were you like, ugh?
I've been really lucky and haven't had any.
Touch your ukulele now.
Hey,
Touch wood.
yeah.
Wood so you don't jinx yourself.
But I've had people so not heckle anything but like will join it. Sometimes you'll say a joke and they might go, oh yeah, that's happened to me or something like that. So you then have to come out and then interact. You have to acknowledge it. I struggle with it a bit because when I write my comedy, I learn it like a script and I perform it. So if you heckle me, I'm like, oh, that's not in here. But what I've learned from other comedians is a really good trick is if someone says something like I don't know, I can't think of an example, but like shouts out a heckle, repeat it back what they've said. So if they're like, oh, you're shit, and you go, you're shit, it kind of gives you time to think about it, but also you can get a laugh just from repeating what they've said, and if you say it in a certain way, it can make them look stupid. It gives you a bit of time to think of a comeback, and then but you have to always acknowledge it. I think that if you're a comedian and someone heckles and you just try and carry on, I think you lose the room because everyone's heard it and they're like, well, he's not acknowledging it, and then I think your nerves show, even though if you are you are shitting yourself. It's you've got to acknowledge it as hard as it is. If someone heckles, I'm always worried about getting a really bad heckle because I'm just like, oh, fuck you. Like I don't know if I'd be quick enough to come up with something like Jimmy Carr. You've got
That's
quite
it. Not everyone in the room
brutal
always hears, is it? Especially if they're at the front, the people at the back might not have heard. So
yeah
repeating it makes it funny for the people that haven't heard as
yeah
well.
Especially, well, usually the heckler, most people are there and they want you to be good. Most people want to are supportive. The ones that heckle tend to be drunk, so if you repeat it, but it tends to be like kind of nonsensical, so you can kind of get a laugh out of repeating back, especially if you get it a bit wrong, like what did you say, and you say it back, and then you kind of get the room back. But yeah
You might have people saying like, I fed my grandma to a pelican, and you'd be like, okay,
yeah
Cool face.
yeah, I don't know what you intend, but yeah.
Like the Steve Irwin Howard Shipman combination, isn't that one? Chucking old people to animals.
Fair. I was going to say, what is your? I mean, who is your inspiration? Like both kind of female stand-up comics and like male stand-up comics. Like, what's your kind of? Did you watch that as a young girl, and you were like, that's kind of the kind of thing I'd love to do? Because, like you said about humor being like a superpower. Like I try to use comedy. Like I used to be a clown a lot at school because it helps me deal with certain situations. So to be able to create humor or make people laugh, it's a really nice way to dilute certain situations, or where things get a bit complicated or whatever. And I just wonder where your kind of love for making people laugh and that kind of inspiration comes from.
Yeah, I guess I never entered it typically as in like I never came from a background where I was like I'm the class joker. I never was that. I never watched comedy and thought that's what I wanted to do. Like watching people do comedy, I was like, oh, I would never do that. Like that's so brave. I would watch like we kind of like with my mum, like, we would watch Peter Kay and Lee Evans almost like albums. Like you'd watch this. There were kind of stand-up specials that you could watch over and over again and say the jokes with them. Victoria Wood, and then watching like sitcoms with my mum and stuff. But I think my angle into it was I have a very dysfunctional childhood, and I seem to be one of these people that have like just mad shit happen to them all the time. And our way as a family of dealing with everything was joking about everything, turning everything into a joke. So I've always been drawn to dark humor and comedy drama. And I would say that's telling. I always find something like telling a serious or important story and then getting people to laugh while you're telling it. It can sometimes be more powerful. Like there's like British comedy film, Four Lions. Have you seen that?
Yeah.
So it's like if you take out the
Bone Jacker
jokes,
guy.
that's a really serious, story, serious drama. But like you add the jokes and it just gets everyone on board and you're listening. I find stuff like that amazing, and that's always been my inspiration. And then as I like got more serious into it, stuff like Sophie Willan in Alma's Not Normal. Have you seen Alma's Not Normal?
That's brilliant.
Yeah, so that
Yeah.
she started
She's really
as
good.
a show in Edinburgh, a one-person show, and that was about her growing up in the care system, and then she turned it into the comedy show, and it's kind of that is what I'm inspired by. Fleabag, is a comedy drama. That was a play, but those kind of things have inspired
And then she was
me.
on Taskmaster as well.
Yeah, she did stand up as well for a bit. So yeah, that's kind of what inspires me. But then the musical element, I love like Flo and Joan, Victoria Wood.
Flight of the Conchords.
Yes, oh my god, absolutely love Flight of the Conchords. So that was probably one of the first things I watched where they mixed like the music with the story, and they're just incredible. I would love to do something like that where you have the songs are in the story and are part of it. I was inspired by that. I was like, I've got to try and make my songs fit the story, otherwise they're just here's a song in the middle of a story I'm telling you.
Well, that's the next thing to do, isn't it? Win Edinburgh Fringe, and then they give you a story, don't they? They give you like the ability to write something to complement your talents and stuff, and you
Like
can
a
write your
TV
own
series.
story.
Like Baby Reindeer, but like I fed my dad to a pelican, but like the TV series version. That would
And you
be,
don't get a stalker.
No, that would be good.
Yeah.
No,
or maybe you're stalked by pelicans.
Yeah.
for some
But
reason.
that title on a Netflix series, if that popped up on Netflix, I don't care what it's about. I'm gonna click and see what the hell this is.
I am watching that all day long.
Pelican's just a great word. Just a
Yeah,
great word.
it is, isn't it? Like you just don't hear it enough.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
And
change
there's
that.
not a lot of pelicans around, so it's
What if a different, like, say a duck accidentally ate your dad instead? Like, what would have
what?
would you have changed?
You said duck.
A duck, yeah. I'm saying because there's different things in the pond. Like when she was going to do something with the dad, then if a different
We eat
bird.
ducks, they don't eat us, Jude. There's a pecking order. The pelican
Yeah, no,
has its own
pecking order.
rules.
Hey, no, I'm just saying if a different,
Probably not.
like something could have swooped down and
he didn't mean it, so you can have that.
Do you know what I mean, though? Do you know what I mean? If it was a different
it would.
bird
I
in the
tried
story,
to feed my dad to a pelican, but a duck ate him instead, or something. The title would just get longer and longer.
Exactly.
But I tripped over an anteater on my way to do it.
Sounds like the books that Reef brings home from school. I tripped over an anteater.
I
It's the
just-
sort of book that Biff and Chip would be getting up to,
Yes.
isn't it?
Biff and Chip. That's
Biff and Chip feed their dad
old school.
to an iguana.
Cold Steve.
I was going to say, do you have a favorite comedy sketch or a favorite comedy song?
Of mine or of other people's?
I will get to you. I will get to yours. I mean,
Yeah,
either
no,
yours.
I was going to say.
I was going to say one that's like, you know, like I don't know, like Monty Python or something, or like whatever it is,
Yeah.
something that you just
or
loved
deep,
and-
what is it? Hippopotamus. My rhymes
Yeah.
are bottomless.
Oh,
So a couple
And
of
it's like,
it's so good. Song wise, Flo and Joan, I Drank Too Much. Have you heard that?
yeah, that's the
Please.
one of the women's on the keyboard, isn't she?
Yeah,
And
one's on the
guitar.
keyboard, and I think one the other one has a shaker, and it's like about this night
Yeah.
where they go out and get drunk, and it just escalates and escalates, and it's so good. That I love. And I actually, when I was writing a few of my songs, I would listen to that just because specificity, have I said that right, is what's
Wow.
so key, I think, in comedy. Victoria Wood always said it's funnier to say hobnob than biscuit. So, if you're really specific about what you're talking about, I think that, and Flo and Joan are brilliant at that, and Victoria Wood, obviously, absolute master at it.
yeah.
But
She was probably
Flight
the
of
first person
Conchords-
I ever saw that
doing
introduced
musical
comedy. And, yeah, with the piano.
Yeah.
Saw very little
Yes.
of it, but
I
yeah.
remember my mum crying laughing at that and not quite getting it. I was too young, but it was the one, the ballad of, hit me on the bottom with a Woman's Weekly, let's do it, let's
Yeah.
fall in love. That one is so funny.
I mean, I don't remember.
Yeah,
I
she
saw
was-
that like probably for not even the last 20 years or so. But yeah, I remember right. So what I used to watch growing up. Well, I say I used to watch. My first ever comedy thing was I found an old Eddie Murphy Eddie Murphy Delirious cassette tape that my dad had, and I'd like listen to that
Yeah.
when I was very young. And then from that, it was Lee Evans because he was like clean.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
there wasn't a lot of everyone was clean, and then I'm Tommy Cooper, obviously. And then when you get older,
But
you
Eddie
go
Murphy
down.
would have been tape, but he's
Eddie
better
Murphy wasn't
visually, isn't he?
clean.
Because he's so.
No.
Yeah,
No, I'm just saying he was funny on tape, but he would have been funnier visually because he's
Yeah.
got
live, yeah.
expressive.
well. Yeah.
but yeah,
Yeah.
then everyone just got dirty, didn't they? I can't. Apart from Peter Kay, there's not a lot of clean comedians now, is there?
No,
Like Lee
I tell
Evans
you who
was
is.
kind of.
Yeah. There's an American comedian, and he's brilliant. His name's Nate Bargatze. He's got a few specials on Netflix, and I feel like he's got quite a British sense of humor. He's quite dry, but he doesn't use any bad language, and he sticks to that. He was on a podcast having an interview recently, and they were like, "Oh no, he wasn't. He was on Saturday Night Live," and they were trying to make him swear, and he was like, "I'm not doing it." Like he did. That's his thing. He doesn't swear, and his jokes are incredible. Oh yeah, watch it. Nate Bargatze. He's really good.
I'll check that
We
out.
watched his one of his recent specials about a month or two ago. Like sometimes we're bored and we don't, and it's a Friday night or something. We want to have a drink and watch something.
Yeah.
We'll find a comedy special of someone we've never heard before. It can be proper hit and miss.
Yes.
But we watched the Nate one and he was really good.
He's
That I've added.
good.
He's got 3 or 4 others on
Yeah.
Netflix now. So
I love his
Yeah.
style. He's really
he was good.
honed his kind of comedy persona, and it's this like deadpan kind of like, yeah, he's really good.
It's all about his family and relatable stuff, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's really good. Yeah. I tell you who I'm going to see. So change subject slightly, but on Saturday, I'm going to Manchester to see someone that I hope you agree is great. Tim Minchin.
I was about to bring him up as far as the musical goes. I didn't think he was still about.
Yeah.
Matilda.
And it's not a comedy gig I'm going to see. He does actual. I'm sure you know he's got actual albums. He
wow,
releases
okay.
actual. I wouldn't say serious music, but yeah, there's a couple of songs in there that would make you cry. But there are
Yeah.
funny phrases and interesting ways he does things. But
Dude.
they can be emotional. But it is funny. But I know live he's going to sing this sad song on
Yeah.
a piano and then do some jokes for a bit, and then. I know it's going to be hilarious, but I can't wait to see him.
Yeah. I tell you
Do you
who
reckon
else I
shoes or no
completely
shoes?
forgot to mention. Oh yeah. I always wear
Never wears
Never
shoes,
shoes.
does he?
No.
Sorry, Kay.
Bill Bailey. Have you seen him? Like so the thing is, when I do musical comedy, but I very much taught myself the ukulele. I'm really a trained singer, so I don't think of myself as a musician. So sometimes I'm a bit like, oh, I'm not. But then you watch someone like Bill Bailey, oh my God, and he has all these instruments on stage, and some he'll only use for a little skit, but it's brilliant. He is a master at musical comedy.
Yeah, I saw him at Sonosphere in 2011. It's like a metal festival,
Yeah.
and he was on, and he brought in all these little horns,
Yes. Yeah, I've seen
and
that set.
he did the Metallica song and just like playing this Metallica like heavy metal song. There was like people. Then he would like go to the back and play like heavy riffs and stuff. But these early DVDs, I remember when he was like singing songs about was it Krista Berg about keeping women under like trolls under the bridge. Like really weird, bizarre because he's taking a piss out of Krista Berg being a misogynist.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's so good.
Jack Black, he's like extremely musical now.
Black,
He
yes.
still throws like the comedy. He doesn't necessarily do stand up, does he? He's really just super funny, but it's always just through song. Like even in the Minecraft film that just came out,
Tenacious,
he basically wrote that part for himself, didn't he? It was basically a highlight reel
that
of
kind
what
of
you can do.
Tenacious D track was kind of like telling story through music as well, and comedy. And what's your favorite dish?
Yeah.
I'm not going to make it, but I'll order it from Zanzibar. It's like that kind of whole he's amazing. What are you watching any kind of comedy kind of shows at the moment?
I am. I haven't had time to, it sounds really stupid, like to watch much TV because life has just been insane. But something I'm watching at the moment is season 2 of Such Brave Girls. Have you seen that? So
On
that
BBC.
I think it is BBC, yeah. And that is a comedy drama and very much kind of it's this really dysfunctional family, 2 sisters and their mum. And it's just incredible. It's so dark but hilarious. And it's season 2 at the minute. That's brilliant. Watch. Yes, that's the one.
Yeah, I've watched I've not seen the second one yet, but I watched the first one. It was out a few years ago, wasn't it?
Yeah,
the first one.
Yeah,
the new
last year or
season's
year
just
before.
out.
Yeah, Kat Sadler. And she started as a stand-up comedian, and bringing very much a storyteller comedian, and wrote that show. But yeah, I think that's brilliant. But for fun, for just for laughing, just a nice clean fun. Have you seen? Is it called Here We Go? It's on BBC. It's just a really fun comedy. It's got Catherine.
That rings a bell.
Really good comedian.
Yeah.
Yes, that one. It's really good.
It's got that guy from Peep Show. Well, that was in Peep Show a long time ago. I can never remember his name.
Yeah,
but yeah, that's good. It's kind of like because it's like a geeky son that doesn't speak much that likes filming his family.
Yeah.
So it's all from his perspective, really. You forget he's even there.
Yeah.
He never even speaks.
And it flicks back and forward in time. But it's just a nice, fun comedy. So
you like awkward stuff then? That's like cringy stuff, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I've never been into like slapstick comedy.
Like Miranda.
Yeah, I've not seen that. The other one.
That is really fun. It's got her from Misfits. That's darkly comic.
I'm going to write that
down.
Do
you still use the term black
rather
comedy?
Misfit.
Do you still use the term black comedy? That's how I used to refer to like black books comedy. And stuff. No, it's called black comedy.
Dark comedy.
Like, no, not dark. Like Black Books, the program, they called that like black. It's kind of like not hilarious. It's that sort of like undertone comedy, isn't it? It's not like ha ha, but it's not like it's like a very sort of.
Flowers is described as a black comedy, but that is really dark.
Yeah.
It's not like a straight comedy. It's not like edgy. It's just sort of like it's funny, but it's like undertone funny sort of thing.
Yeah.
Black Books, they used to call that. I don't think the term's really about anymore, but that's what you'd kind of call the black comedy, the one you'd watch, but not expecting to like laugh your ass off, like watching Step Brothers or something.
Yeah, it kind of catches you off guard, and you're like, oh, should I be laughing at this?
Yeah.
Black comedy
I'm
is from
surprised
the
you haven't heard
library.
that term before.
Yeah.
Drew, that one you've just that picture you showed up a second ago, they're the two girls from Staff Let's Flats.
Oh,
That's
that's
more-
brilliant.
That's
Genius.
just a caveat. I don't like admitting this, but I'm an estate agent, and Staff Let's Flats is hilarious and so realistic. I don't do lettings. But in London, I worked in London for 10 years doing it, and that is the sort of shit you'd see to a degree. And there was always a Greek estate agents near you that was rubbish.
Oh, really?
Like, it's genuine. Yeah,
He's a
it's
fantastic
mad.
comedy actor, writer. Like he's brilliant.
Yeah, so
So
but the
good
weird
at
thing is,
visual comedy. I think that's
yeah, he does like subtle slapstick occasionally.
Yeah.
Like if it was always slapstick, it'd be rubbish. But that scene where he tries to get out of the car quickly, he's still got his seatbelt on and it chokes him. Like that kills me every time. But if you watch his own stuff, he did a series on Netflix, a one show thing. It was really terrible. It was uncomfortable and not funny.
I think I watched it. Did he do that after Staff Let's? What was it called? It was
Yeah.
really weird.
Yeah, it's like him growing up. It starts with him as a
Being
baby singing.
born. Yeah.
Yeah, it was rubbish.
Yeah.
So
It was a bit weird.
it's not just about an individual. You do sometimes needs other things to help, I
Story.
think. Yeah, well, his sisters and Staff Let's Flats, and I think that helps as well.
Yeah.
Do you think you'd have enough material with your show to make it like a 3 or 4 part kind of TV?
Probably if I put all the other stuff that I took out, I would make it work if I got that offer, Drew. I would make it work.
Hell yeah. Let's put it out there. Let's get it out there into the universe for sure.
But I guess I could go more into, because it's only an hour with Edinburgh, you have to miss a lot out, and I have to jump through time because I'm spanning 7 years before I find my dad, and then go forward another 2 years at the end. So, yeah.
Is it still the same with like on the Royal Mile where sometimes you've got people going out doing flyering prior to the shows on the Royal Mile, or is it like because your show's kind of like picking up momentum? Will you find that quite a few of the days are? Do you know what I mean? It's already kind of got that momentum behind it.
I hope so. This is my first Edinburgh, so I've heard the Edinburgh Fringe Festival actually hasn't kind of changed much as in the way it works. So all the other everything else is kind of online, but with Edinburgh it's kind of nice that it still has that flyering is the best way to get people in.
100%.
And that is what they still do up there. So I've got to very much, and I've been listening to a lot of like comedians talk about how to get people into their show, and it's not just giving out your flyer. You've got to really connect with the people and have a conversation with them. So I think it's going to be hard work, but yeah.
But it's also cool in the way that like they get to meet you though in a weird way, which is cool. It's not like in most things they get a ticket, they'd sit down, they'd be like, oh my god, that's them on stage. Hey. But it's like the fact that they see you in real life in a street prior to coming into the gig. I remember I did a play there when I came out of I think I was still halfway through training at drama school. I did a play called Ducked there, and one of the ideas they had was they're like, well, look, there's a bath scene in the play, and they're like, okay, so we're like, right, everyone pretend to be in towels. So like we were literally wearing towels, going around giving out flyers, but it worked because people were like, why the hell are these people walking around in towels? So it's like just coming up with like little spectacle things to draw. Not that I'm saying you know. Dress in a towel or anything like that.
The equivalent would be if Kayleigh got a pelican outfit or a penguin outfit. That's probably easier to get, and just has a little ukulele and starts singing around.
Do the rap thing. Do some of the rap bit. That is genius. Hey, come to my fucking show, man. What's wrong with you?
It's kind of the bit I'm most nervous about is going out and trying to get people into the show and having to talk to everyone and being like, oh god. If it's scripted, I can perform it, but like talking to people like just off the cuff, it is not my strong point.
I think they'll be enamored with your energy, though, Kayleigh. I really do. I think they'll be like, I want to see what this lady's about.
Isn't it
and
strange?
Your post is so cool as well. Like
isn't there a lot of luck as well involved in Edinburgh? Not on your material, but on who comes to see you because it's so busy. So
Yes.
you could be playing to 2 people one day and 100 people the next day.
Yeah.
But the one with 2 people, that could be someone who commissions TV shows and books
Yeah.
people. So even
Yeah.
if you've got a couple of people, you've got to be doing your A game, even if it's not a full room,
Yeah.
because it could be mixed.
And
Could
I
be
think
Netflix
you're-
right there.
Yeah. I think as well, it's you get reviewers in the first few days, and it's like if you don't get reviewers in that first week and it hasn't come out that people are enjoying your show, people by the second week people go off reviews and then go to see them shows. So if you haven't got any press in, I think it's a tricky one, Edinburgh. So I'm not going up with any with massive goals. I'm just gonna enjoy performing for a month because I think that's something
That's
you
amazing.
don't get to do when you work full time and you're kind of dipping in and out of the arts industry. So it's really nice just to dedicate a month to performing. So I'm just, and if anything comes of it, then that's a bonus.
Is it a full month? How many shows are you planning on doing? Sorry, Drew. Is that what you're
No,
going to
it's
say as
good.
well?
No, it's not so. It's good.
27 shows. So I'm going from the 30th
Whoa.
of July to the 25th of August, and then I've got the 12th of August off, and then you just go straight through.
How many shows do you do a day? Is it almost like you do a matinee and an evening, or how does
No,
it?
it's one show a day. So I will do 7 o'clock.
Okay.
That's my time slot in that venue, and I will do that venue
Cool.
that time every day.
The same venue.
Yeah.
Do you know what venue you're in? Do you know which?
Yeah, so I was really lucky and managed to get in with Gilded Balloon, which are a big, and I initially applied to Free Fringe because I'm an unknown, really. Even though I've had a few accolades, I'm still an unknown comedian, and I applied for the Free Fringe and I didn't initially get an offer of a venue, and I was like, oh, fuck, what am I going to do? And I was really lucky, and I won the Keep It Fringe Fund, which is the Phoebe Waller-Bridge fund to help people get to the Fringe, and it's £2,500. And I was like, wow, with that, I can approach the bigger venues, the paid venues. So I reached out to Gilded Balloon, and they offered me a little 50-seater in their Pater House, their big pink building. So I was really bloody lucky. I lucked out there.
Yeah, but again, it's the synchronicity. When we were saying like the universe, just things aligning. Like that's so cool. Little stepping stones
Yeah,
towards.
if I didn't get that fund, and it kind of worked out really well there. So and that helps. That is the thing up there. It's almost, if you're in a good venue, you're more likely to see certain industry that you'd want to see. It is a bit of a luck game up there, but
it's a good time in the evening as well. 7 o'clock's a good slot. It could be 11 a.m. So people are in good spirits, but not too
drunk.
hammered.
They're still listening. But the thing of being at that time is you're then competing with the big names, because the big popular comedians or performers, they're on at 7 and 9. They tend to be the big times. So I could hang around their queues and be like, oh, if you didn't get a ticket, come see me.
Them. Just turn up with your pelican puppet. Hey, come see me.
People like disparaging comments. Like, you could literally just go and say, walk along the road and go, I'm not as good as this guy, but come and see me. You're not going to get into this one.
Yeah, I'm not famous, but...
I just googled Gilded Balloon because I hadn't heard of it. It says here, Scotland's leading producer of live comedy and entertainment year round and at the Edinburgh Fringe Festival. And the main photos are Smack the Pony, back in the saddle.
Yeah.
Rosie O'Donnell, who's massive as well, and Alan Davis, just in the first few photos.
Yeah.
So they've got some pretty top end. Oh, there's even more people there. Yeah, they've got loads of great people there. So you're in good company.
Yeah,
you're in really good company.
It's a good venue.
Have you thought about writing to Phoebe Waller-Bridge and be like, hey, do you want to come see my thing?
I haven't actually. Maybe I should.
Drew, we told you about writing those sorts of letters to people.
Yeah, I know.
I've got a letter from this guy called Drew Horner. Want to see my thing? Oh,
I want to see what's still.
Just going to put that one over there.
Instant block.
Yeah.
Well, I haven't actually, but maybe I should. Yeah.
No, but considering you won the thing that she created for comedians, like, it's a lovely. If you never had the chance to, now is the perfect chance to.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? In a sense, like, not to tell you what to be a shoulda, because shoulda people annoy me, but I think it could be good.
Yeah.
Potentially building a bridge for Waller Bridge. Anyway,
Wait.
terrible
Or
dad joke.
maybe go to, like, what would you call it? Her agent or something. Google Phoebe Waller-Bridge agent, and then send
Send a
them, say,
little-
"Hey, I won
yeah.
I won her thing. Can you
Yeah.
let her know to come and see?" Or
Yes. We on the BBC.
Send a
one of your
poster.
guys.
Send a poster of your thing, because this is what I was going to say about the Lee Evans thing. I've noticed that you're doing cool poses though, because you're doing the splits and holding the ukulele,
Such a
which
star.
reminded me of the Lee Evans thing when he's doing really interesting shapes on his
Yeah, he's
poster.
quite abstract, isn't he, with his poses?
Yeah,
You
but
should
it's
do it
really
between two lorries
catchy.
like Van Damme.
Yeah. But it's really catchy. Between two ice creams at Edinburgh. It's like,
On the back of two giraffes.
Riding a
There you go.
pelican.
look, it's so cool.
Look at that miserable
Do you
face.
see what I mean? Look how it just looks cool in your Converse. You should write to them, get some
Get
sponsorship.
Drew,
Boom.
be my PR manager.
I will be your PR.
That's like so serious but silly at the same time.
Yes,
It's like
I-
me and my guitar.
So it's supposed to be silly, and then sometimes I get worried when I share these things. Like, do people think I'm being serious? Because for me, that is mortifying when I put out something stupid. I put out like this really lovey-dovey thing about my husband. We were on holiday, and it was a really ridiculous picture of him in the sea. And I think I shared it, and I put "till death do us part" because he looked like an idiot, and it was a bit like a joke, like I'm with this guy forever. And people were like, "Oh, this is lovely," and I was like, "No, it's a joke. Like, I wouldn't be this openly affectionate. It's not." Yeah,
Would have been worse if
He's
I know
a
there's a shark in the water just behind him.
yeah. Till death does. Oh, gone.
He's alleged because he was driving you to some of these gigs, right? Because he's helping behind the scenes and taking you to them and helping.
One
Yeah,
at a time alone in the house.
Yeah, yeah.
He's like the driver, and
He's a big part of it actually. He's got quite a creative brain himself. He's an artist. So he's helped me direct the show, and it's really good to
Nice.
get like he can watch me do it and go, they're not going to get that bit. You find that funny because you know the story, but he's quite good at watching it and being like, this needs to be clearer. Or he's helped me with little bits, like when I'm doing the characters. He came up with, I don't know if you remember, Drew, the bit where my mum reveals that she had an affair, and I face the back of the room and I turn round as if she's just going, "Oh, right, well, I had an affair," and I thought it was him. Like he came up with that kind of characterization just to really make the characters clearer. And he's coming to Edinburgh with me, and he's going to tech my show for me.
See, he's a legend.
Yeah.
Are you doing any shows like down south?
The southest I'm going is tomorrow evening. I'm doing Goring on Thames. I'm there tomorrow night. Is that how you say it? Goring on Thames.
Where the
Never heard of
is
that.
It's kind of Oxfordshire, in between Oxfordshire and London,
That's
somewhere.
a bit far.
James, jump on a train, man.
We gotta get you a gig at the Anvil in Basingstoke or something. I saw Lee Evans and Jimmy Carr there, and Sean Locke.
My friends work backstage
and,
at the Anvil. I'll see if that's a big.
That's what I used to go and watch. Every couple of months, we saw Jimmy Carr 5 times, saw Sean Locke once, which wasn't great. Saw Rod Gilbert twice, and you were talking about Lee Evans. We saw him there at one of them like test gigs.
Okay, like, when they do it like a work in progress.
It was before he did like the O2, because I saw him at the O2, and it wasn't bad, but it was like he was like swallowed up by the crowd. I was basically like watching it on telly. It was like it was funny, but it wasn't that good. But when I watched him at the Anvil, which is probably a couple hundred people, he played for like an hour and a half, and 2 hours, I'd say. Probably a bit over, and he every now and again he'd do a joke, and there'd be no reaction, he'd just be like, screw it up and just throw it on the floor and just sort of go through the next. But I find it when people can have audience interaction, it's so much better than just seeing a dot on a stage, or even if you're really close to the stage, it's just like bloop, and it's like it's good, it's still funny, but it's not. I think a smaller audience is way better.
I think so, because comedy kind of. For me, I like it when it feels like they're having a conversation with you. So, a smaller room, it feels a bit more like it's your mate just telling you these hilarious stories. Whereas, when you're in this big kind of concert venue,
arena,
you don't get.
Well, you're quite good at having audience interaction as well. Like even the bit that that Drew sent a clip of. You've got people like singing things back to you or shouting things back to
Yeah,
you.
the one about the guys. What is it about? If you're a such and such guy, can I get a
my
hell yeah?
Independent Men song. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's brave because a lot you've got to know that people are going to reply to you. Like if you say that and everyone just is like,
Yeah.
Well, no, but then
doesn't have-
she's got a caveat for that as well, because there's a bit where you say something like, how many men are such and such, and then one person like, yeah, well, there you go, one.
Yeah.
And it's like, you've got very clever ways to, depending on the
Well,
reaction
you kind of have to
number.
react. Those are my songs, I
It's
guess,
really
are the
clever.
moments where I take the comedy on a more ridiculous level, more absurd, and also have a bit more freedom with improv. So I have a couple of songs where there's audience interaction, and I am kind of stuck on what they give me. You know, I have to, what they give back, I then have to react to that. So yeah,
That can sometimes be really funny though.
Yeah.
Because if, like, when you open up that box of going, "Ooh, Pandora's box, I don't know what's going to come out of it," and then you can react off that, and that can hopefully kind of take you down a different kind of tangent.
yeah, it can be scary, but yeah, it's cool to do.
Well, I was going to ask if it's cool, not to make you feel like a performing monkey, but seeing as you're in a room with all these wonderful instruments,
Get your stilts out.
Get yourself-
My stilts. Once you walk around the room,
just show them that I wasn't lying. No.
you're mad, Drew.
Yeah, I know. I think what it was, she was walking on ukuleles when I saw her. Strange shoes. But yeah, if you're happy to choose like a couple of songs that you quite
This is, it's
like,
very
that's-
weird doing it like this, because when I do it to a room, like I'm getting the laughs through, but I imagine this is going to be like doing a lockdown gig.
I mean, unfortunately, Drew's used to doing things on a webcam, so
it's a different kind of laugh.
We'll
that's
try
another
and not,
website.
and we need to try and not laugh.
That's hairymen.com. It's fine. It's going quite well, actually.
That's what Bill Bailey was on Black Books. He did. Remember?
really?
Remember? You watched Black Books? Bill Bailey gets done. Photographed as a hairy bear.
Yeah,
Do you
it's
know what I'm on
his
about?
OnlyFans page. I was tempted just to
Basically,
do
yeah.
something to do with being a hairy man.
Quiet in
So
the
we
crowd,
got-
please.
Curtains, you hairy man. There.
We've
I've
got to
opened
try
it
and
up.
not laugh, by the way, because it will cut her audio out. So
Oh yeah, shit. Yeah,
So-
actually, because we were
I'm
thinking.
going to mute.
Okay.
Yeah.
yeah, you should mute for the rest of the episode.
Should I mute and just laugh? You can see us laughing so that we're
Sure.
not interrupting.
Which
Don't
song? Well, I thought the first one I'll do is because I gave you the COVID risotto joke. I could do the song that's based on a long-term relationship.
To
Sounds
be clear,
good.
Drew, if you mute, we can definitely see you laughing. Muting is noise, not vision.
No, I know. I said that because then you use the clips and you can see me going. Like,
Okay.
you know, that's what I'm laughing
This is
heads.
going to be so weird.
Just so it doesn't interrupt the flow
Yeah.
and the.
It's going to be like
the
that
audio.
head on Art Attack, aren't we? It like flops up.
Yeah.
yeah, the plasticine head. Brilliant.
Well, since we said be quiet, those two haven't shut up.
Yeah, I'm going to mute myself now.
Okay. Right, so this song was inspired by my long-term relationship. Been with my husband for 18 years. But you will be able to relate to this if thank you. You'll be able to relate to it if you've ever lived with a menstrual woman, with a woman in the period, or if you've ever had a menstrual cycle, you will be able to relate to this song. It's a love song. It's a few days before my period, and I ask you if you wanna watch this film with me, and you say, you're alright, and I say, well, if you don't wanna watch it, then say you don't wanna watch it, and you say, I just said that I'd watch it, and I say, that's not the same as wanting to watch it. I want you to want to watch it. So tell me, do you want to watch it? And you look scared and you say, I don't really know how to answer that, I'm crying. Why don't you love me? And you you say I don't really know what's happening, and I say just leave me alone, and you leave, and I scream, why'd you always leave me? You come back, put your arms around me, and say, how about a cup of tea? But why have you got to breathe so loud? Go and breathe somewhere else, go away. Come back, go away. Come back, stay the hell away from me. But first, will you bring me the cheese? Thank you.
That's amazing. So true.
God. James went so red, he was cracking up.
It just no, because it is almost word for word of
Yeah.
when you are with a pregnant person.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah.
I think you can just replace pregnant person with every woman. No offense,
Oh, I'm not
Kayleigh.
going to
Yeah.
say that.
You guys are fucking nuts, and you don't even have to be on a menstrual cycle. I have that argument
Perimenopause. Wait till
every
I
other
get to
day.
that stage.
Are your songs on Spotify and stuff, like individually?
They're
It's like, well, I want
not.
to play that to my friend at work.
They're not. Although I did have the offer to record some, and I feel like I probably should put some on.
100% should.
Yeah.
100%.
That one's on. I think I've got it on my socials and stuff. So I can send you the link if you want to share it. But yeah, that one is
Perfect.
how I end most of my like club sets, is with that one, because it just gets everyone on board.
I'm
That's
secretly
brilliant.
hoping you've got a song that's something about, what do you want for dinner? Anything. Okay, what about this? No. What about that? No. What about that?
It's a
No.
good idea. I'm stealing that as well.
Have it. It's all the time. So what do you want? Oh, I'll have anything. I'll go and make this. No, I don't want that.
Yeah.
What about this? No. What about that? Oh, I won't have anything.
Right, I was driving back from Scotland last week, and it's a long journey. And we got the dog in the car, so we did 2 stops at 2 service stations. And my partner Sadie, she eats really healthy, so she had a little salady thing when I had like a burger or whatever. And then the second stop, I was like, "Do you want a little cake or something?" And she was like, "Surprise me." I'm like,
Oh no.
"This is going to go one way." I went round. The service stations were pretty limited, so I went to like the Marks and Spencers, the WH Smiths, and the Costa Coffee and the Starbucks. And rather than just buying something, I took a photo of everything and said, this. She went, "No, not that type of thing, more cakey." I was like, so I came back to the car with like this $1 million shortbread, and she went, when have you ever seen me eat this? I was like, what?
You're giving me material here, because that's actually brilliant.
It drove me
I
insane.
said
It was like,
when have you ever seen me eat this? I've never drank that. You don't even know me.
I know. I was like, well, I've been with her for 13 years, and apparently I've never met the woman. So like, great.
I just remembered, it's the independent man one. Is that cool to ask for? What's it called? Where encores?
Request? Yeah.
Requests. Yeah, that's even better than encore.
Yeah, of course. That has at one point in the song quite a bit of audience interaction, but
well, we can unmute ourselves at that point, and then we can join you in this virtual audience.
Okay, sure. Let me.
If that's cool.
Yeah. So.
I love this one. I wonder if James is hidden because he doesn't want to wee himself.
No, this happens every now and again, Kayleigh. He gets a low storage, and sometimes he has to disappear for a second and come back.
Oh yeah, because his phone gets burnt out. It gets
Yeah.
Okay. So this is Independent Men, and the part of my show is I'm talking about the second year of knowing my dad. I've took my mic off just because of the uke. I thought it might. Does that sound okay? Where it is?
Yeah,
Cool.
I was surprised it wasn't like so loud with it being there, like right by your guitar. But,
So it comes in the show where I talk about like in the second year of knowing my real dad that I discover he's ever so slightly sexist. Like he will comment on me he will call me like an independent woman or a sister for doing things like driving. So I wrote this
really
song
condescending
because it's very much a female celebration being independent. Like we don't get men celebrating being independent. So I wrote this song of what it would be like to have independent men. Okay. He's an independent man, if you know what I mean. He can buy his own coffee, he can buy his own jeans. He lives his life how he wants, if you know what I mean. I don't know what I mean, but he knows what I mean. He oozes confidence as he skips along down the street. He yells, I don't need a woman to validate me. He's a real boy boss, an independent man queen. His t-shirt reads, I'm strong enough to follow my dreams. Oh, he's an independent man. If any man can do it, you bet he can. Wouldn't it be great if his name was Dan? 'Cause Dan rhymes with man. And man rhymes with Dan. But his name is Stephen. With a PH and a silent X because he makes his own rules. He can tie his shoelaces all by himself. He reads Andrew Tate tweets for his mental health. He looks in the mirror and says, you're the man every day. If you tell him no, he's gonna do it anyway. That's why you're going to prison, Stephen. He's an independent man. If any man can do it, yeah, then he can. Wouldn't it be great if his name was Stan? 'Cause Stan rhymes with Dan. And Dan rhymes with man. All the independent men up in this place, put your hands up in the air and show your face. If you earn your own money and you have your own car, give me an oh. Yeah, okay, so we're going to do that again. And just for fun, we're going to do it in the style of Shakira. For the independent men up in this place, put your hands up in the air and show your face. If you earn your own money and you have your own car, give me an oh. Yeah. You are all independent men. If you don't need a woman, give me an amen.
Amen. Oh.
Wouldn't it be great if you were all called Ken? 'Cause Ken rhymes with men. But that would be well weird. Give it up for the independent men.
Oh, brilliant.
That was awesome.
You're not wrong. Like, I think like men like can't do much on their own. Like I had an optician's appointment and I want to get new glasses. I just have to wait for Sadie to be free to buy them because I can't trust myself because she's got to look at my face all day long. So she's got to pick them. It's true. I bought 2 pairs about 4 years ago, and because you get one buy one free, and one's really good, and one she hates.
One you just insult her, like, don't
One's
you
for
put those
home
glasses
use
on.
only.
She likes 70s serial killer vibes.
Oh, that's probably Dharma, yeah.
Yeah, but she doesn't like my Harry Potter ones.
Right.
I've got like circular black ones. She's like, no.
She's more into murderers than wizards.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Well, it
What
was
a
more
strange
kind
sentence.
of taking them.
Boys with. She doesn't like boys with a stick. She likes men with a knife.
Yeah.
I don't know. Awkward.
Yeah, it was more mocking. Like, do you remember there was a period in the early 2000s where you got songs like Miss Independent and Neo did a song called he did a song called Miss Independent. There was Miss Independent Women by Destiny's Child, and it was all this kind of like, oh yeah, independent women. It was like, imagine if men were doing this. So it's kind of like it was a take the piss of that kind of era. Anything we did was
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
That kind of thing.
Also, James has joined us, but he's got a black screen. So James, piss off again and come back.
Talking of independent men, it's a man in a man cave.
Yeah.
In a virtual man cave. Talking of how much we need women, though, like I do that typical man thing where I open a cupboard and I'm like, babe, I can't find the salt or pepper, and she's like, move some things.
Yeah. Try.
And then it's like miraculously those seasonings appear. It's like, I don't know why men just, and I witnessed so many people, so many men I know just open the fridge and go, I can't find the ketchup, and it's like it's behind something.
Yeah.
It's like we call out to it thinking that an inanimate object's going to go, hey, how you doing? You're like, what?
I was in, I came home a few weeks ago to my house. That's where I lived. So that's a normal part of the story.
Somebody else's house.
And I walked into the living room and I was telling Sadie about something. And I walked away and I came back 2 hours later and sat down, watched the TV. And I'd say at the end of the film, that we were watching, I went, oh, you got the plants? And she went, yeah, I got them this morning. You've been in the living room like 5 times and you've been sat in front of them for 2 hours. I was like, oh. Our dog jumps up at the TV, so she got like 3 little plants to put to stop the dog attacking the TV when other dogs come on, and they've been there for like hours, and I've been looking at them for hours.
Is
And
that working?
That
You're
is
back.
working.
My phone genuinely overheated. It said no memory. It's got like 30 gig memory on there, free. And then it went to it turned off completely. And then it went to a menu screen I've never seen with like some sort of analysis from Apple. Then asked me to put a passcode in on a blank white screen. I was like, what is that? And then it just said like unable to recover. See you later. So I've just had
We've
it
all
in front
been
of the
there.
fan for the last like few minutes. What did I miss? We talk about
You
stilts
didn't
again.
follow the White Rabbit at all, and any of the
Drew, do you want to
No.
tell him what he should do to solve this, or shall I?
buy
A.
laptop.
Yeah, I'm such a stinge though. It's so bad.
Dickhead.
You get a second-hand one, man. It doesn't have to be the creme de la creme.
The funny thing is, I could get one right now, but I'm just a stinge.
Well,
I'm a stinge bag. I spend all my money on How to Train Your Dragons toys and stuff like that, rather than.
Well, you just missed an epic song by Kayleigh,
Yeah.
and there was crowd participation as well.
Well, you can all shove it because I'm going to re-listen to it.
Yes.
That would be
It's
the
a good
first
time to
episode
tell
he's
everyone now.
listened to.
Subscribe, like, and share.
Oh, right. Going off comedy for a second, Kayleigh, because we're all assuming comedy and stuff like. But what are you like? Just because we do a movie podcast, you might have heard. Is there other like? Assuming it's not just comedy, like what films do you like? Are you into like horror, thrillers, or are you really into comedy?
I love
Yeah.
the psychological thriller. You know, like Seven, those kind of films.
Haven't mentioned that one before, have we?
I really just like come up every podcast.
No, Seven is like our favorite.
Oh,
like, I
really?
mean, list your
didn't even know
top 10 psychological thrillers without putting any pressure on you, or 5.
We did a whole episode on Seven just purely on it. 'Cause
Really?
it came out in the
I
cinema
feel like
about a
I'm
month
not going to
ago.
be able to. What's I see. I told you I'm rubbish with names. There's one with Morgan Freeman. Catch something about a spider.
Kiss the Girls.
Along Came a Spider.
Yeah,
And Kiss the Girls was the sequel. It was
Yeah,
books, I
That's
think.
3.
that's 3.
Excellent movies.
Yeah,
That's just come on
He's in all
Netflix
3 of the
that
ones you said about, actually.
7 Psychopaths.
Boom.
Yeah, that's like a comedy thriller as well,
yeah,
isn't it? Yeah. That's a mad one.
Martin McDonagh.
I miss a good crime thriller.
Yeah, I feel like
You don't really get them anymore, do you?
No, I
Well, like
crave
Gone
them,
Girl was one of the last
actually.
better ones.
What's the last one I really enjoyed? I should have come prepared.
Have you seen
Is
much
that,
in
no,
the
sorry,
cinema?
we never knew we were gonna throw you into the hot seat of movies. What's that one with oh man, Ethan Hawke and Angelina Jolie, and you were talking
Taking
about
Lives.
Taking Lives. Boom.
Taking
Good
Lives.
movie.
I've not.
Taking Lives.
I'm writing this down. I've not seen
Oh
it.
my word, it's epic.
Oh my god, have you
I
given
won't
me a new psych? Right, okay.
It's so
Taking
good.
Lives is a good psychological thriller. Insomnia,
Yes.
the Christopher Nolan one.
Yeah, I've seen that one.
I forget how good Taking Lives was. I had that on video, I think.
Yeah.
That was the first time I ever saw Ethan Hawke in anything as well.
Oh, Unfaithful with oh god, what's her name? I know it's got Olivia Martinez and
You're going fairly abstract.
I am.
Well, I'm
and
quite
Richard
like
Gere.
foreign films, like Korean films. Have you seen?
Oh, like French films. We got a few French films that are good.
What's that? There is I saw The Devil, which I think is Korean.
Yeah.
There's a really good French psychological film. Oh, what is it called when a husband goes missing? Or no, she goes missing, and he sees her on a camera.
Yeah. Tell her.
Yes.
Tell no one.
Yes, Tell No One. That's incredible.
Starring Emmanuel Bonamy.
Yeah. Memento. Oh my god, they're all coming now.
Yeah.
We were talking the other week about Vanilla Sky.
Yeah.
I forgot how good that film was. I
It's
rewatched it a couple of weeks
I
ago.
feel like I need to.
It's actually a psychological thriller, I'd say.
Yeah, it's definitely psychological. It is the biggest twist. Well, not the biggest. One of the biggest twists, I think, in cinema.
Have you seen
what one?
The Substance, Kayleigh?
Yeah.
That's quite a film.
Yeah.
The mess in it, that
You-
film.
I
That's
can't tell what your reaction is.
Yeah,
Is that
I-
like it was
do you know
awful
what?
or?
I
Your
can't
teeth.
tell
Piece of
how I felt. I really liked it. I'm not into gore, and I found some of it a bit hard to watch. But I loved
Yeah.
I loved what it meant.
Yeah.
And I found that the bit I thought was really powerful was when she's in the mirror and she keeps redoing her makeup and going back and then going back, and I was like, oh, I've done that. Like that feeling, that pressure, and obviously it's on such a bigger scale. She's a Hollywood actress. So I loved that idea of it, but I think for me at the end when it like went all like monster and stuff, and like for me I was like, what the fuck?
That's where it lost me. It went a bit cartoonish, didn't it?
Yeah,
Which
Yeah.
I get now after watching it again. I kind of get it, but at the time, in the moment, I was like,
The big blood
they've
bath
ruined
with
it.
yeah. Like I
him
understand it. I get the point, but it did slightly
getting
lose me.
dressed.
But I'm not into kind of fantasy stuff much or anything like that. Like
I do like a psychological sort of thriller, crime thriller.
Yeah.
You know, those sorts of
Ooh.
things. They're so good. Kiss the Girls and Along Came a Spider were absolutely
classic.
brilliant.
Prisoners. Kayleigh, Prisoners is a great one
yes,
as well.
I've seen that. Prisoner.
Okay.
Yeah, Jake Gyllenhaal. Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And
Enemy.
And to go to
Talking of-
Korean, have you seen Parasite?
Yes. I saw that in the cinema.
Oh,
That was incredible.
missed out
That
on
was
some.
almost felt like two separate stories, like the way it started and then it just
Yeah.
shifted.
the two
Well,
different
as soon as,
perspectives.
as soon as that door opens
Yeah.
and she slides that thing and there's this dark basement,
Yeah.
you're like, what is
what's
going?
happening
And there's
now?
like literally another world down there. Amazing.
Yeah,
Amazing.
that was exciting.
some-
I knew some. I do know some good films. There we go.
Yes.
It's
You've done very well. There's a,
when you get
Yeah.
put on the spot, it's very easy to forget things that you know really well.
Yeah.
Like you go,
I'm going to think
Did
of
you
loads
ever have
now.
that
As soon as
thing-
this ends, I'm going to just be listing.
Did
Yeah.
you ever have
we
that
had
thing?
a quiz.
You
Oh,
know, when
sorry.
you were little, you'd go into HMV to buy like when CDs were a thing, and you go to town and be like, right, I'm gonna get some new music. Oh, love music, love music. You walk into HMV or MVC or whatever and be like,
What do I like?
I've completely forgotten every type of music I like. And
Yeah.
you end up just walking and browsing the aisles. It's like,
Yeah,
I've never gone that bad. Walk in, find the
think
metal
I will.
sign, done.
yeah.
Kev's very one directional with his music.
Except it's not One Direction, it's Metallica.
Yeah,
or
it's the
something.
opposite of One Direction. Yeah.
Metal.
No, fantastic. Well, thanks for joining us. I know you've got a gig shortly, haven't
Yeah,
you?
I've got a gig in
Nice.
Oxford, and then I'm watching a show afterwards.
Cool.
Yeah.
Oh, amazing. Well, we won't take up your time because you've
Yeah.
got to. I guess it's not a long travel for you because you're in the
No,
neighbourhood,
it's not.
aren't you?
I like these close jigs. I like it. I like a jig. I like,
Like a jig.
You can use your skills as well and get there a lot quicker.
yeah. It's on the other side of Oxford, so it's like half-hour drive. But yeah, it's not too bad. So, yeah. But thanks
But
for
Kayleigh,
having
thank
me.
you so much for coming on. You absolute legend. Incredible.
That was all. And the Fringe Festival was the whole of August, isn't it?
Pretty much, yeah. It's the 30th of July
Yeah.
to the 25th of August.
Yeah,
Can you
27
send us a
dates, Kev.
link?
That's the whole month.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
can you send us a link where people could buy tickets? Because maybe we can add it to this thing, depending if
Yeah.
it's still
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'd
well,
love
this
to do that.
time when.
Well, yeah, anything you do, just tag me in. Without going to, well, anyone that's listening might know, our Ragewell account is blocked currently because it's
Oh,
attached to my personal one, and I was doing
And
a
Kev's
colour.
been investigated at
I-
the moment
I
so,
shadow
for other
banned.
things, so all his accounts have been tied.
I deleted about 1,000 people I was following to kind of get rid of it because I was changing it from photography to something
Oh.
else, and it said flagged me up as a
Unfollow.
yeah.
so it
Grooming
blocked
gang.
my account. I think it's blocked for a month, so I'm
Okay.
using my Kev's film thoughts to
All right, I'll
do
send
everything.
it. Yeah,
for me.
I'll send you.
To lure people in.
Yeah, send anything to me and I'll share it.
Great.
And I'm going to put your episode's going to go out in the middle of August. It's going to go out on 11th,
Amazing.
Monday the
Kev's
11th of August.
Kev's faked banned the Ragewell account to try and push traffic to his own personal page.
Such a good plan.
But seriously, if there is a link so people could get tickets and hopefully
Yeah.
when they
Yeah.
listen to this episode, they'll be like, I want to see your show because it is amazing, guys. It truly is.
Yeah, honestly,
Thank
tag us
you.
in anything and I'll share everything before the episode goes out.
Kev's
It's no
known for
problem.
sharing too much, so
And if you get that T-shirt made, I'll just wear it like all the time,
Yeah,
just
I'm
to
definitely
plug your
going
show.
to.
Anyway, let's let her go. She's got
Love from your
a
big fan.
very important jig to go to.
Yes.
God, Jig.
Right.
Got a jigsaw to do.
All right. Thank you
Thank
very
you
much.
so much.
Legend. Thank you so much.
This has been Rage Whale. Thanks for hanging out with us. We hope you had a whale of a time.
Oh, wait! Just before you head off to listen to another one of our episodes, I'm not going to ask you to give us a follow and a 5-star review or follow our social media such as Instagram and TikTok and YouTube, although that is your choice. But we would like to tell you about a new website we have called ragewhale.tmill.com, where you can get some merchandise to support us. Hoodies, t-shirts and mugs. There is a link here and on our social media profiles. Thank you so much for listening again. See you next time.